Well, we are back with episode 20 of Sappers Unscripted. Two Springbok jerseys, as the show is all about the Springboks for 2024. And yes, still no Breven. The Oker's living his best life. But Casual Bias, Rugby, and myself, Brett Burns, we are here for your entertainment. How's it, Casual?
Oh, all good. Of course, missing Brevan. It feels like a weird dynamic just having the two of us, but I think we've coped well. We've coped well without one of the main boys on the channel. We miss him, we love him, but he'll be back. He'll be back with a bang.
Yep, I agree. So, talking today, for me, it's about the fixtures for 2024 for the Springboks. I think it's been a long time coming, and we're quite excited about the 2024 fixtures. It's not what you'd expect every year, which makes it so much more exciting.
Well, as the people know, it is Sappers Unscripted, and to be fair, Brett, you've caught me totally off guard. You just said wear the Bok jersey. Didn't know for what reason, and now we're talking fixtures, and I haven't even seen the fixtures. So
Okay, well,
you'll just take the lead, and you'll see total surprises from me. But as you know, the one thing that people look forward to in rugby is the Springbok fixtures, and the one thing that the Springboks look forward to when they see the fixtures is when is that New Zealand game? It's the biggest game in sport. Well, I was going to say biggest game in rugby, but my words got ahead of me. But it's the biggest game in sport. It's the best rivalry. When you have two teams dominating a sport for so long, they're playing each other every single year, nail-biter game after nail-biter game. It's just excitement, oozing excitement.
Before we actually get to that level of excitement, which would be world number 1 versus world number 3, there's actually something else happening. It's world number 1 versus world number 2. The Irish are coming to South Africa in July.
Oh my goodness. We spoke about this in what was it? In our first 3 episodes, literally hyping it up. Yep. I mean, I want us to go full sledgehammer on these guys. Like, they've been talking massive. They beat us in the World Cup. They beat us before the World Cup. They're beating us at the end of the year. Like, people are starting to think it's a bogey team. And to be fair, there is some merit behind them being a bogey team. I mean, how many years has it been since we beat them?
It's been quite a while, but I don't want to talk about that. I don't want to talk about anything negative. I just want to talk about
We'll smash them. We are going to smash them.
6th of July, Loftus Versfeld in Pretoria, the first test between South Africa and Ireland. I am super excited. Like I said in a previous episode, I am going to every single Bok test that will be played in 2024. And the Pretoria one is just down the road. And I don't want to see a 1-1 series. Like, that's just going to be such an anticlimax.
I feel kind of they have to... It's fine if it's a 2-game series, but if it goes to 1-1, they have to have a filler game. They have to have a week open and say, listen, if this shit ends on 1-1, we are playing that 3rd game. There's no draws. I'd rather lose, right, the series. I'd rather lose the series 2-0, 1-1. No, sorry, 2-0, 2-1. I don't even care. I would rather lose the series than have it as a draw. I want a winner or a loser in this whole thing. And what makes it exciting is we know Ireland are coming for history, right? They made history against the All Blacks. They went to try and make history and win the World Cup, try and beat their curse that they had for the quarterfinals. They aren't making history here. This is the one place you don't make history. You don't come to South Africa and beat us in our own backyard.
I completely agree. And after that first test where they're going to be playing at altitude and it's going to be very hot. Well, it won't be hot. It'll be in July, so it'll be our winter. So the conditions might suit them a little bit. But it's still at altitude. I don't think they'll be able to cope as well. But then you go to South Africa's winter destination in Durban the week after. So for those that don't know, South Africa's winters in Durban are quite warm. It's pretty much the UK summer in Durban. So that's going to be another stellar test. Again, showing the Irish what this Bok side is all about.
Yeah, I just don't see them coping with the humidity. It's such a big change in weather from Ireland to to South Africa. I mean, the perfect example was literally looking at that Saracens game against the Bulls. Saracens playing in their cold where they perform always, and then coming to the Bulls at Loftus and got literally ragdolled around the field. And that's exactly what I think will happen with the Irish. Of course, no Johnny Sexton now, so they'll be a bit better team. But I find it tough to think the Irish will give us a game, especially 2 games in a row, and give us a hiding in our own backyard. I just can't see it happening. I think our boys will be so up for it, looking to get that bogey off our shoulder, finally saying, listen, we are the top dog. We are number 1 in the world. We've been number 1 for the longest time. And it's a deserving spot. Every time that we play them, it's after injuries, after our season, after our players have to go back to the franchise teams. Now it's the same for them. They have to come to us after the Six Nations, tired bodies, come try and do your running rugby and stuff in Durban after a long season, after the URC, after the Champions Cup, after your Six Nations. Try it. Be my guest.
Yeah, and well, guys, while you're at it, just remember to hit that subscribe button. So more of this stuff can happen. And then
and I don't want to hear excuses from them then. We had injuries. We couldn't have all our players. Because when we use that, they don't allow it at all.
Yeah, this is a fact. And then what excites me the most about the 2024 season is we saw this team in the World Cup they were probably the unsung heroes of the World Cup for me. The Portuguese are going to play against South Africa for the first time in history. The venue's obviously to be confirmed, but it's the week right after the last Irish test. South Africa versus Portugal. How exciting.
I mean, I think that's massive for tier 2 nation, rugby nations to get a tour like that. I think it should happen more. I think a lot of these tier 2 teams need to play against lower tier 1 nations. I would love to see a tour of Portugal going to Italy. How exciting would that not be?
Oh, yeah.
Or the likes of Portugal going to Fiji or Japan. That would be an amazing watch. A 3-game series of that. Portugal will come out all guns blazing. It's massive for their country in terms of rugby. The weird thing is, I don't necessarily think we would spank Portugal when they come here because a team that is so emotionally invested. It's their one big game that they're going to play for the year. And I don't really want to see South Africa play a second string team. Of course, you don't want to see a team butcher Portugal 60 love. But you also don't want to play a second tier team. You want to kind of respect them and play a very strong team. You want to feel that strong team to respect them.
Yeah, I'm actually caught in 2 minds with that. Actually, I've been thinking about it, that if we do select a tier 2 second string side, it will be our more running rugby side. And I think our second string side actually puts up a bigger score against Portugal than the first string side, because it's first string side, it's put your defensive wall up, and we play tactical, smart rugby. The flair is from the shall we say, B side. And unfortunately, I don't see anything less than 100 points against this Portuguese side from either one of the South African sides.
Oh my goodness. I wouldn't necessarily agree with that. I just said I don't think we'll spank them by that much. I think if we throw in a mixture of the two, it could easily get scary. Because if you throw in the likes of our normal front row with the Kitshoff, Malcolm Marx, and Frans Malherbe, just to have your steadiness, and you decide, listen, we want to give a guy an opportunity like a Cameron Hanekom or Evan Roos again to prove their worth. Yeah. If you throw in a Cameron Hanekom, Evan Roos, and a Daimani all on the same pitch at the same time, it could get scary. It could get 7 score. Same with if you play a Kobus Reinach that just loves running at you. Faf de Klerk obviously is the first choice, but he'll bomb them the kicks into the air. But if you give some of those guys that have that dog in them at the moment to get into that first team, then the score could get scary, especially if you still have your main guys to support them. Knowing your defensive structure will be all good. You can just focus on running over people.
So, where do you think this test is going to be taking place? There's been rumors that it could be at Royal Bafokeng Stadium in Rustenburg. There's rumors that it could be at Gqeberha in, well, formerly known as PE. Where do you think this is going to take place?
I think there's an obvious choice to it. You pick the province in South Africa with the most tourists, and that is Cape Town. We don't get enough international games as it is. And if you want to throw in a charity match against Portugal, where you will find the most Portuguese people, it will be in Cape Town. I think that is a perfect advocate for Cape Town Stadium as well, to get us as an international stadium, because truly, we probably have the best stadium. Yeah, Loftus and Ellis Park brings in the crowds and stuff for that international games. But if you want to throw in and advertise Cape Town Stadium, that is the perfect place to do a game like that.
And this, ladies and gentlemen, is where Casual Bias lives, in Cape Town. So that's hence the free advertising for Cape Town. So talking about hometowns, a month later after the Portuguese test, we're coming to my hometown, Johannesburg, for the All Blacks. South Africa versus the All Blacks in Johannesburg, Ellis Park or Emirates Airline Park, whatever you want to call it. Oh, my goodness.
You see all the other games, like obviously we are cocky South Africans, but there's a bit of banter when we speak about the Irish. Of course, we respect Ireland and how good they've been, but SAFA's unscripted, so you have to play the role. But when it comes to New Zealand, it's tough to banter a team that you have so much respect for when it comes to the game of rugby. I'm just happy we're not playing in Auckland, because then it's a guaranteed loss for us, because no one beats New Zealand in Auckland. But I am so excited. That game, as I said at the start of the video, it's like the first game that you look at when you see the calendar coming out, when you see the fixtures coming out. It is the biggest game in rugby by a country mile. It's the most competitive game. There's always fireworks. It's never a dull game. Have you ever seen a Boks versus the All Blacks game where it ends like a Premiership game 9-3? No. Even look at the final. That was low scoring. What a game that was.
Yeah, for sure. That was high intensity. And then a week later, on the 7th of September, the whole SAFA's unscripted team will be traveling down to Cape Town Stadium. I don't know if my team knows it yet, but we're all traveling down to Cape Town Stadium to watch a back-to-back All Blacks test. Again, at Cape Town Stadium versus the All Blacks, who actually, if you don't know this is like almost a home field advantage for
I was just going to say. Yeah. I mean, that will be massive. I think you see all these crazy videos on Twitter or X of the fans fighting in the crowd. If you want to see some more fans fighting in the crowd, you go to that game, because so Cape Town has so many All Blacks fans. Like, it is crazy. I wouldn't say it's 50-50. It's not 50-50 at all. Like, people exaggerate that. But there is a ton of All Blacks fans, and they are proud All Blacks fans. I'm not talking about like a normal SAFA wearing an All Blacks jersey. I'm talking about real shit stirrers, real passionate All Blacks fans. They're not even from New Zealand, but they are bigger New Zealand fans than the New Zealanders almost. And that's going to be absolutely fire. Another beautiful example of marketing for Cape Town Stadium. We want this stadium to be an international stadium. I mean, it is the most beautiful stadium, and I wonder how they would cope with that, with a 50-50 pitch. Do you think that will play a role?
I don't. Reason why I don't think is because why it also won't affect South Africa, if you will, is because when those two teams play against each other, you can put them in the parking lot on the cement, and they'll put up a solid test match for us. It's just that mind switch will change into my opposition is there, not there. So I think
fair enough. We played the final in the same conditions that we played England, and look at the difference in game that it turned out to be. Exactly. If I had to give like external factors an advantage, I would probably give New Zealand the advantage when it comes to that 50-50 pitch with their running rugby. Those pitches are made for for a bit of running. So the ball speed will be insane. But I think that just makes for a more exciting game, because as we have seen, South Africa's game has evolved so much when it comes to, except for just defending and kicking the ball, we are starting to run the ball as well. I think you'll see a lot of Stormers guys playing that game against New Zealand in Cape Town Stadium. I think that's where you see Aichiba Daimani. I think you see Evan Roos there as well. Of course, you see Dion Fourie there. I can't see how you don't have Dion Fourie there. Mr. Fine Wine himself. Mani Lebok. Those are the guys they play on that pitch week in, week out. They train on that pitch. They need to play that game.
I agree. I was actually going to ask now, what do you think the team selections would look like? And you answered me before I could even answer that, because I would have also done that. I would have had like a very strong, heavy pack at the Johannesburg test, because it's going to be very cold. But what people aren't remembering is that now we're going out of winter into spring in Cape Town. So they just out of the Cape Town rainy season. So the pitch might be a little bit more not so favorable to running rugby. But then again, we don't know what the Cape Town rain is going to do next winter.
I mean, but that's just where the versatility of our players come in. We have literally got players for every single system that we decide we want to play that game. If we really want to say, listen, we are going to run this ball and we are going to be up for it, energetic performance, like truly rush defense, you've got Kwagga there. Kwagga fits perfectly with a pitch like that. I mean, we are blessed. We are blessed as a country with the talents that we have, and I think you almost take the same approach that you took with Portugal for a game in Cape Town, where you have your pride and trusted to do the heavy lifting, and then you have some wild cards in there with the likes of. I keep on bringing up Daimani, but it's just because he's been playing so brilliantly. But I think the likes of a Daimani is perfect for a game against New Zealand.
If you're gonna play that type of game, do you think then a Grant Williams comes in at 9 ahead of everybody else because of his pace, his dynamics, his
I think he comes from the bench. I think Kobus Reinach gets the nod, because Kobus Reinach also attacks that game line very nicely, elite speed.
And you don't think that a guy like Yankees comes back into the squad at 9? Seeing that he'll be playing on his home ground and his rugby is picking up again.
That is a very interesting shout. I would have no issues if Herschel Yankees gets into the box squad this year, if he keeps up with the performances that he's been putting in. He's been absolutely class. He's been way better than the likes of a Jaden Hendrickse.
Yes.
And he has truly been brilliant. And if you want to give Herschel Yankees a run out for the box again, use him in a Cape Town game, because he's been insane when it comes to those Cape Town games. I don't know, maybe it's not even the pitch. It's just like the Cape Town Stadium vibe just fits Herschel Yankees game. It's weird to think.
I agree. It's not my hometown, but Cape Town is one of my favorite places to watch rugby. Like I go to all the Sevens events every end of the year. I was at the Sevens World Cup. I have not yet watched my own team play, the Stormers, which is quite sad. I've seen them at every other stadium, but to watch a Springbok test against the All Blacks at Cape Town Stadium, for me, it's a bucket list thing. It has to be ticked off. I will book my plane ticket next week if I have to, just to make sure that I will be in Cape Town for that test. And to be fair, the rugby ticket's going to cost more than the plane ticket. So
yeah, correct. This isn't part of the Rugby Championship, correct?
No, it is.
Oh, it is. So 2 home games for us. It's just
3
lovely.
home games, because the week after that we play Argentina at Mbombela Stadium.
Yeah, we'll spank them. They never beat us at home. They had a close game, last season? But I think that was just one of those games where it was almost like hyping them up for the World Cup, and we just weren't at the races, but still beat them on one of our worst days of rugby you will ever see. I think this tournament is the one we want to win. We want to win a rugby championship for once, because everyone says, listen, we only peak every 4 years to win the rugby championship after we've won the World Cup, just as a statement. that will be massive for us. And we have the advantage by playing 2 home games against New Zealand. Because, you could say the Cape Town game could be a home game for New Zealand, but it's not. It's still South Africa. You still have way more Bok fans than the All Blacks. And I think all of our home games have to be serious victories. That game against Argentina, there's no relaxing against them because they're Argentina. We know what Argentina can do. They have an upset in them. They beat New Zealand in New Zealand 2 years ago. So I'm saying go full sledgehammer against them. This is a statement performance throughout.
I agree. But for me, the side, it's going to be when you play world number 2 back-to-back, and then directly after that, you play world number 3 back-to-back in your home. I think that's 4 games in a row that South Africa has to win. Obviously, I have no doubt that South Africa will beat Portugal, so I'm not counting that as the 5th game. No disrespect to them. It's just a fact. They're not going to come to South Africa and beat South Africa. I don't even think they'll beat one of our URC teams, to be honest. But to come to have South Africa versus Ireland 2 games, and then directly after that, South Africa having New Zealand for 2 games, that is every South African rugby fan's dream. I mean, come on. How can you not be excited for that?
We just love the fact that there's more home games for us as South Africans, because we always have to play in the same stadiums because there's not too many home games for us. But now that we literally just spoke about 6 home games, 2 Ireland, Portugal, 2 New Zealand, and then Argentina as well. That is 6 home games for us. We can have at least 2 in Cape Town because everyone wants to see the game in Cape Town. We're not tired of Loftus or Ellis Park, but we notice we need the Cape Town games.
Yes.
And I kind of want us to build South Africa to play against South Africa in South Africa, to be the fortress that it once was. I don't want to feel like New Zealand has a chance of beating us in South Africa. It has to be like you're going to New Zealand playing in Auckland. We need to build some legacy of teams not being able to beat us in South Africa, because we have the crowd for it, we have the stadium for it, we have the players for it, but somehow we always get a bogey loss, a fluke loss, or whatever it could be. We need to build this as a fortress once again.
I completely agree. You took the words out of my mouth. That could be that's well said. I couldn't agree more. Especially using 2024 as a statement because of who we playing. I mean, that just takes it to a whole nother level, and I'm
just
super excited.
backing up the controversy of the World Cup. I would love it.
Exactly. We have to. I feel that a South African side needs to beat that Irish side 2-0, obviously, but it has to be convincing wins. I mean, the last time they played in South Africa, we had I forget his name. He played wing for the Lions. I mean, that was the Springbok wing, and we still beat Ireland. So it's not going to be easy for the Irish.
Yeah, I mean, every team's dream is to go undefeated in a full calendar year, and I truly believe we have the best chance now in very long to go undefeated for a full year and have it as a statement, especially with our home games, and we're playing against rivals. I think that is much bigger. If we were to play against the likes of England or France again, I could easily see us maybe slipping up once or twice. I'm not saying they are better teams than us, but you know how South Africa works. They slip up. But now, knowing we'll have some fire under our belly, playing against teams that have been writing us off in Ireland, still throwing that bogey thing, we'll be fired up for that one. And we always fired up for New Zealand, and we're not playing them in Auckland. So if we get those 4 victories, that would be massive for us going into the end of the year tour even.
Yeah, easy win in Australia, because I can't see the Australians rectifying anything. I want us to play in Sydney again so we can actually have a record in Sydney. That'll be cool.
I mean, our record isn't too good in Australia, but it's not necessarily a scary record. We have won a couple of games there. The record was actually more damaging when the likes of Matt Gita and stuff was playing, not Carter Gordon.
Especially not Carter Gordon. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching this episode. We really appreciate all your love and support. we do read your comments. We do see what you guys are saying to us. I get dissed a lot for some reason. So only oak with a rugby brain, yeah, but it is what it is.
The people love casual bias.
Remember to like and subscribe. Share this with a mates. Share this to a pro rugby player. Let them have a look, see what we're doing. They might like it too. So enjoy. Happy New Year. We love you all. Okay, bye.